Greetings from Podcastville. We're back with another episode of Paths We Talk, this time focusing on the jobs I've had throughout my life. Today's job is going to be painting. It's the second job I ever had. And I didn't spend much time as a painter, so it's going to be quite a short episode. I think it's going to be probably better if I just let the episode speak for itself. I'm, of course, joined by my tremendous co-host, Laura Arias, and she's going to be picking my brain about painting. So let's get into it. Woo! So here we go. All right, remember what we were doing last time with like the whole going through my jobs, like
Yeah, I
format.
remember that.
Yeah. So we're on to job 2. You look impressed.
I am.
What do you get one guess to?
Your second job?
Yeah, one guess before I. What do you think? It's gonna say a lot about what you think about me.
You think? I'm gonna say ice cream shop.
Wow. No, that's like my 10th job, okay?
Oh my god.
You ruined spoilers.
I'm sorry.
Nah, it's alright, I'll live. So actually, so my second job was painting. Like painting, I don't know.
Painting walls.
Yeah, like painting walls. But it was only for one day, yeah. So
Does that count?
yeah, it counts because there's a lot of one-day jobs that had weird experiences. Actually, the next one's totally weird. So we've got to go through all my one-day jobs as well because I feel like I learned something on every day.
Fair enough.
And like even just now when I read the list that I have on all my jobs, like just seeing this job, I was like, oh shit, I remember that, and like my feelings of that day of work came back to me like pretty vividly, and just like thinking, I'm like not thinking, but like comparing that to how I am now, it's, I don't know, I always cringe, like how I used to be and how I used to feel like working. So yeah, this job was like painting sort of, I think it was like industrial buildings, not industrial buildings I should say, but like we were working in like the car park of an apartment complex that hadn't been completely built yet, so we were like painting stuff in the car park. I don't think we were actually painting. I think we were like going around places where there might be rust and like sealing that with like this thing before they paint over it or something. But yeah, like I never saw that because obviously like I only worked one day. So yeah, it was officially painting, but I don't really remember doing any painting. I remember like putting like paint like stuff on bare concrete that it's like, it wasn't like painting like, you know how this apartment is painted and the walls are nice and the same color. It was just like crude and stuff, and it was like, feel free to interrupt at any point. Like, I feel like you
No,
wanted to.
please go ahead.
I'm just trying to explain it as good as well as possible. And so my friend Justin got me this job, or like got me this day of work, and he had been working there for like a little while, I remember, and like he was working with a guy from school called Costa, and his dad was like the owner of the business.
Okay.
And that's a little rundown there about like the whole situation. So obviously like Justin probably asked me one day if I wanted to come, and then I said yes because I'm fucking broke, because I'm a young broke dude and I want some money. And so I went on my fucking journey to become a painter. Little did I know I would never get called back again.
Wow.
Wow.
You were that bad?
You know what? Like, back in I feel like people let me believe that I was that bad, but in reality, like looking back now, if I went to a job and the exact same thing sort of happened, I wouldn't. It's not that, like, no one would say I was bad, like, because I remember just working with Justin, and then like Costa and his dad would work at another section, and like there's no way for him to know if I'm doing well or not, you know what I mean? Like any trial and error, like if Like if you were to give some,
Maybe they just needed you for that one day.
yeah, maybe they just needed me for that one day. But I felt like back then, like, I must have done something wrong. Like I must be a bad worker, etc., etc.
But no one told you anything.
No, no one told me anything. So,
Oh.
but like, yeah, that's what I mean. But like looking back at it now, it's like I wouldn't have thought that at all. Like, there's no way I would have thought that. But back then, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was just like so
Insecure?
young. Yeah, insecure. Sort of just hadn't like been forged through time, like a piece
you
of
are
iron.
now.
Yeah, like I am now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I think that's actually the most interesting thing. Like thinking back to it, I was just like, oh my god, I totally remember that, and like feeling so sort of I don't want to say scared, but like sort of scared, and and being insecure, and now it's just like, no, I would never feel that way. So it's a bit weird
That's good.
thinking back. No, totally, it's totally good. That's why I want to do this little look back at all my jobs, because I totally, yeah, get like I went through the situation so many times, and like the more we go through these jobs, the more you're gonna like we're gonna go from my insecurities and other negative shit to positives, and we're gonna see how I overcame my weaknesses and achieved my changed in the eighth act of this story structure that is my life.
Wow.
Wow.
That's intense.
It's intense. I don't really remember much about the actual. I'm just trying to like recollect memories. I remember that. I remember that Justin had to drive me, and there was a whole thing because like usually he would get a lift with the other two workers in the van, but now like it was just me and him, and this was back in the day where like you didn't have Google Maps on your phone, so so I had like this shitty little like navigator,
Yeah.
and like I still like I was directing him, and I still directed him like the wrong way, and like cause it's like peak hour traffic in the morning, and you're going through the city. I remember we had to hit like extra tolls because of me, and I remember feeling bad.
Oh no.
Oh no.
How old were you?
About 18, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. About 18. But it was cool. It was cool, like it was a cool day of hanging out, I remember just like obviously I didn't take it too seriously. Like the guy had hired me for the day or whatever, and just like let me like I had a brief explanation of what I needed to do, and then I just had to do it like while I'm next to like my mate. And so I remember being like, yeah, this is cool. It's cool, just a cool day out that I'm getting paid for, and being very chill about it. And I remember never really getting called, never getting called back. And I also, something that not triggers me, but it's like this memory that like I have ingrained in me from like back then was like me, like I had gone through this process of trying to get a job and not getting called back like a few times, or like going for interviews and not getting called back. And I remember talking about it with Justin and another mate, Wesley, and them explaining to me how you've got to go like 150% on the first couple days or a couple weeks, whatever, and then after that you don't have to give a shit anymore. And I remember just being like thinking, okay, like maybe like back then I remember sort of thinking I must just not know how to do this, but there was also like a little voice in the back of my head that was thinking, I feel like the standards that they're holding me up to, or they're saying I should hold myself up to, are just sort of unreasonable, given the fact that these jobs were always just like unsupervised, and they're just sort of like baptism by fire. Like they're just gonna throw you at the work, and then they're gonna come check at the end of the day, and then they're just gonna make a decision based on that. And like thinking back to this job, like I feel, it's just the vibe that you're given when that's your first day, and you just feel like no one really cares. You're not gonna really care, I guess. There's a part of you that's not gonna really think that it's so serious if it's not like presented to you that way. So I remember like thinking of the sort of, I don't want to say hypocrisy, but like the, like sweet and sour food, like how it's one thing but then it's the other thing. Paradox. It's like a paradox. Like, you're supposed to do one thing, but all the like everyone is like under the surface of what's happening. Everyone's saying like everything's pointing to you doing the other thing, but then your expectations and everyone's expectations are pointing to you to do something different, and then like they don't match at the end of the day, I guess. I don't know. Like, but now I just think of it like how you said, which was maybe he just needed me for one day and that's it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear to me.
Yeah.
He just needed someone for one day. They didn't even ask you to like, do like a trial or anything. It was just like, yep, you're gonna do this today. Someone calling sick or whatever, and then you just cover for them. I don't think they were like thinking of you, as in you might get hired. I don't think that was the case.
Yeah. Definitely a lot clearer now. But back then, I stayed up at night, I was crying,
You did?
No, not really, but like, I'm trying to paint an image in your head of me like analyzing and over analyzing this situation, whereas now.
Yeah, but that's like the lack of experience. Like, yeah, like if they didn't even tell you, okay, today it's your trial day.
Yeah.
Depending how you do today, how you perform, you might get the job. If they didn't even say that, that's not a job proposal. That's just like, you're going to cover for this person today. Just do this. Yeah. Please don't make a mess. That's all.
Totally is what I'm thinking now.
Yeah, definitely.
We should start calling these people like during the podcast and be like, why didn't I get the job? Like
12 years later.
I feel like I can track Costa's dead down, like just Facebook. But
yeah.
No. Yeah.
Do you think he will remember you?
No. Actually, like, because even when I saw this, like, I must have thought like really hard when I was making this list, and even just now, like I've already forgotten. And when I looked at the list, I was like, oh shit, I can't believe that's the next job. Like, I totally forgot about that. But because I had it written down, like, I remembered, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I can't believe you thought it was like a possible job to have if you did good.
Yeah, well, that's just what we thought, or that's what I thought back then. And I remember just being so...
But they didn't say, right? They didn't ever said...
I don't even remember.
Would you like to have this job? It's just like...
No. Like, I never talked...
Would you like to come tomorrow? Right?
No, like, my friend just told me, do you want to come tomorrow? It's not
exactly.
like my friend was, like, the boss or the supervisor or anything. It's just, like... It was just so word of mouth and unofficial. And, yeah. I don't know, did you... Thinking of, like, going back to the example that you just made, I'm, like, sure that's you speaking as, like, a restaurant manager. Like, your little speech, like, oh, this is your trial today, and based on how you do...
I mean, if someone comes work for me, I'll explain what they're doing, of course, what's expected of them on the day.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we'll have a chat with them, like, what do you apply for? What do you expect from us as well?
Gotcha.
And today is going to be like 3 hours, whatever. And I just need you to do this and this. Someone's going to be with you, supervising that everything goes right,
Yeah.
Like a introductory kind of explanation of what the day is going to be for someone to feel like they're not lost, you know, like they're not left to do whatever. Because imagine just being somewhere and like no one explains to you anything, and it's like, oh, what do you know,
Yeah.
what do I have to do? Like, that's really an awful place to be.
Yeah, of
You
course.
know, and like, you don't want to work there anyway. If anyone is like paying attention to you, like looking after you, you don't really want to work in that environment either. So, I feel after hearing what you said about your experience, it's just, to me, it's very clear they didn't have any interest in like you wanting to work for them on the long run, and they didn't even wanted you to like be good or better at what you were doing.
Yeah.
You were just like covering for someone, I'm assuming, or like they needed to do the job faster.
Yeah.
They needed a couple of hands, and they just needed to know that the person was, you know, what's the word? I guess competent and like in the right mind. But that's it.
Not an accident.
Yeah, they didn't need a genius to do the job. They were like, oh, just bring someone from your high school.
Yeah.
That will do.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you think, have you always had that, been like, if I had told you this story like 3 years ago, would you have immediately gotten to that point like so confidently, or do you think in the last like few years you've
I mean, I think if I was you, if I'd been you, I would probably ask my friend beforehand, like,
oh yeah,
or like, what is this for? Like, do they need someone? How much they pay? All that.
but
But also because I'm an immigrant.
do you think you would have always like asked those questions, or is that just maybe since
Maybe
you've been an immigrant?
not when I was
or, like,
16, but definitely.
when you were 18?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess girls do mature faster.
I guess, yeah. And like, at least I would have been like, this is so weird. Like, you know, this is not right. But like, I definitely would have asked my friend before going to the job. Like, I was so insecure when I was younger. I would have not, like, I don't think I would have gone to this place without knowing what I was
Really?
supposed to do, or if I had the skills to do it, you know? Like, I was probably not that brave like you. I wouldn't have gone to this place thinking, oh, I might, you know, screw it up, or like I might not know what I'm supposed to be knowing, and I just don't want to, you know, I don't want to screw it up. So I would probably just ask a lot of questions before going, so I can have as much information as I can. And if they're like, oh, we're gonna be painting a wall, I'll probably would have gone to YouTube or something and like try to learn how to paint a wall before going. Yeah.
All right, so you definitely would have handled that situation a lot better mentally and maybe actually on the job.
I want to believe so.
No, it's actually, hearing that, like, I would, well, there's a part of me that still doesn't do what you just described. There's a part of me that's like, if you're telling me to turn up on the day, like, without giving me any information, like, I'm happy to just turn up and just deal with whatever's going to happen. But that's from a place of, I'm just trusting them to either know that it's not going to be that hard, that it's going to, like, that I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on my own before, just to like feel comfortable. But there's also, I mean, but no, I totally see where you have merit, but there's also that part of me that's just like, well, if you're not going to tell me, then obviously you think I can figure it out on the day. And then if I don't, that's your fault for like not telling me anything before I get there. But it's also, I don't know. I feel like there's just they're relinquishing, I'm able to just relinquish responsibility. Is that the right word I'm looking for? When someone's just like, oh, just turn up.
No.
And I guess I'm more okay with that.
I feel like you're totally right. Like, you know, person that is hiring you in this case should like make sure that you know what you're doing and that they're hiring the right person. But personally, that's the way I am. Like I want to be doing my job properly, and I want to make sure everyone knows that I'm good at my job, and like that's the way I am because of my childhood trauma or whatever. But that's how I am. Like I want to be good
Yeah.
at everything. That's like if I think I'm not be good at something, or like I'm not gonna do something nicely, or at least to what's expected of me, like I would probably rather not do it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I totally see where you're coming from. Like, don't get me wrong, there's some jobs that if I was gonna get, I would, like, this is just a guy being like, hey, do you want to come to my job tomorrow? I won't even tell you what it is until you get there. I sort of haven't.
I would have probably talked to my dad. I'm like, this guy wants me to go to this place, and he doesn't tell me anything. He hasn't told me anything about the job.
Yeah.
Because I would be scared, like, this is so creepy.
Yeah.
So he would have probably guided me.
Gotcha. I mean, that's okay. That.
Okay. We're happy.
You can just, I don't know, you can you can leave it down there or just get rid of that part if you want.
Can I just adjust it?
No, that's not gonna work.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. Yeah, I mean, just to go back to what you're saying, like I've applied for some jobs that I've wanted to do as part of like my career, let's say, and I remember being like, I feel like a bit underqualified to apply for this job, but I also in my head I'm like, if I even get an interview, like I'm gonna just start doing research and I'm gonna just start watching videos and reading and all that shit, because like I would want to do, if it's like one of those jobs that it's like for your that you have like a passion for, or even if it's just like more the way that you said it, like if with how you handle trials, if it's presented like it's gonna be a thing that you're gonna do for like more than one day.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm gonna.
But like even for one day, like I don't like maybe they treated you like, not they treated, but like they didn't take the time to explain more just because you were an 18-year-old, that was brought by this other 18-year-old, and maybe they were just like, maybe they thought he had explained to you it was just only a one day thing.
Maybe.
So I don't think they didn't. If you were an 18-year-old and you were like an older person, they probably would have talked to you like an adult. You know what I mean?
Fuck, that's true as well. Yeah.
Like they would have been like, oh, okay, so this is the deal, blah blah, or maybe you had. You would have made some questions.
Yeah.
And you would have handled it differently. So I feel like they would have treated you differently, because when we're like young, really young, and we like apply for jobs, or like we try to get our first, second job, it's like we're not really treated like adults.
That's true.
I don't think we're just treated like, oh, these kids, they want just some pocket money.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why.
No, everything that you're saying is correct. I'm just trying to like, I totally agree with it, is what I mean. But I'm trying to like find.
Like, I don't know, because it didn't work until I was 20, I think. So I can really relate.
But your first job was like fucking like a graduate position, right?
No. My first job was in a summer camp with children.
Okay. Gotcha. So you're working. Okay, I think that counts as well. Like that goes to my point where it's like you're in a position where, I mean, all right, just going to the graduate position, it's like they're expecting like fucking people that have done 3 years of study or something, but you've got five. Okay. Rub it in my face. But yeah, with a summer camp with kids, it's like you're working with people that are younger than you, so you're gonna feel like the adult either way.
Yeah.
I feel.
No, totally. I had no idea what I was doing, and I felt like I could do it anyway because they were kids, so they wouldn't realize. But I had no qualifications whatsoever to be doing that job. I was there because my dad knew someone. And I'm good with kids, but let's be honest, I didn't have any
Experience?
not experience, any qualification. Like I shouldn't, you know, be working with kids if you don't have like any title or like not experience, but like the knowledge to be working with kids for such a long time.
Yeah.
When you're with your like by yourself with the children, like I didn't even have like a what's it called, the first aid certificate,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So
Gotcha.
that could have ended really wrong. Anyway, it was fun. I
Yeah.
had other people supervising anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You weren't just on your own with your 18-year-old friend?
No. No.
Classic. Well, yeah, you probably felt better about that.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
They called me the next day.
They called you the next day?
After the first one.
Are you sure I'm just not a shitty worker?
You probably are a shitty painter.
Thanks.
I wouldn't be surprised. You, by the sound of it, it's like you were prepping the wall
Yeah.
to get it painted.
Yeah. So I wasn't even painting.
So
That's
yeah,
like-
maybe you were not as accurate or like as
But like,
meticulous as you should have been.
oh, maybe, yeah. So now we're going back down that road. You know what?
I'm just kidding.
I'm going down the road that you suggested, which is
Yeah.
I was never going to be there. a
No,
second day.
definitely, for sure, yeah. For sure. Did they pay you on the day?
Yes, they paid me on the day. Cash
Yeah.
money.
That's obvious. That's what it is.
And then I paid Justin for some for the tolls.
You didn't pay taxes, did you?
And for no. Well, even if even if it was legit, like I wouldn't have made enough money for many
True,
years to
true.
pay tax.
That's true.
Words. There was something that I was like thinking about before, but totally forgot. Fuck. Do you? No, never mind. I feel like we've already discussed this. I feel like I'm just like reaching for things to cover, because I'm like trying to be like a good host and a good. I don't know what the word is.
You should relax. This one is a bit of lockdown edition, you know, like we haven't prepared anything. This is us talking after 10 days of being together alone.
And not talking.
Talking a lot.
Not talking a lot.
Every single day. So we have covered every single topic.
Well, no, we haven't covered my painting job. No, actually, you're right. Like that
Your
painting job's
job
done.
wasn't
Now
that good.
Yeah, no. I was trying to think of
You
like.
should have saved it for the end of the podcast.
Oh,
You just went too
fuck,
straight
yeah.
to the action.
It's true. I went straight to the action, and there wasn't that much. This has
Should've
been a
saved
good
it
lesson
for
in
the end.
podcasting.
Yeah, but I guess you learned a lot of things out of your second job.
I think I've, like, looking back at it, like, I've definitely, I just learned that I've come from, like, a place of, I don't know how to, I think what I've learned the most is, like, how far I've come since then by looking back at it. I think that's what gets me. I barely remember doing any actual work. Like, I barely remember the work. I remember, like, the driving and the whole situation of, this is weird, like, I'm just going to this place with my friend, but I'm going to do it, I don't care. I remember that sort of, like, I remember the emotion around, like, surrounding it and how I felt. That's what I really remember.
I'm glad that you didn't steal your kidney or something.
No, yeah.
That's
Well,
what I'm glad of.
Me too, actually. The next job's gonna get, I don't know. You're gonna be glad I didn't get my kidney stolen for the next job as well. So we'll get there soon. And yeah, you're just
Were you a professional peer?
what?
Do you have to pee for money?
No, but it gets more weirder actually. But
Okay.
yeah, so
Can't wait.
I think this is actually like a good prequel to the whole to episode 3 of the Michael's Job Chronicles.
That's awesome. Can't wait to hear it.
Me neither.
Subscribe.
Can't wait to hear it through my own words. Describe
Wow.
to you. I won't lead with it next time. Podcast lesson learned as well.
Okay.
All right, that's it.
That's it, baby.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Thanks for joining me, Laura. And
Thank you for having me, Michael.
always.
Even though I can't leave the room.
That's right. This is a 1-bedroom apartment.
And I
You're
can't
not going
leave
anywhere.
the place. I can't leave.
You got to
my
deal with me
house.
until lockdown's over.